Hello and welcome to Scale to Seven Figures and our $1 Million Fireside Chat. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor, Virtual CFO with Untitled Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And I am excited you are joining me. Scale to Seven Figures is an interactive group of small business owners in the business to corporate, and business to government markets who are ready to scale their businesses to the next level. Our group is an opportunity to share, learn, and grow together without competition. Each week, I bring tips, tactics, and strategies through our $1 Million Masterclasses and our $1 Million Fireside Chats. If you are not familiar with us, head on over to www.scaletosevenfigures.com and check us out. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy our next powerful conversation. Well, hello, and welcome to today's $1 Million Fireside Chat. I am super excited that you all are joining me today. As you know, we are streaming simultaneously across many different platforms. So please let us know where you are listening from. Let us know that you're out there and let us know what questions you have as we go through this conversation. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor and Virtual CFO with Untitled Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And can you believe it's the end of March? Today is the last day of March, and time is just flying by. I just keep saying that. Every time I come live at the end of the month, it just seems like so much time has gone by. However, on the other hand, it seems like March has been the longest month ever. But I am excited to be here today because we are ending our conversation this month. We've been highlighting CEOs who are changing the game in their industries and in their businesses. And today, again, marks our final conversation in honor of Women's History Month. The objective of these conversations is to provide information and inspiration to women in business across the nation to help them get over their stumbling blocks and continue to move their businesses forward, to continue to scale, and to continue to build their legacies. Today, I am going to close out this month's theme as I talk with two serious game changers this afternoon. Dr. Megan Price and Kim Nelson Edwards are going to join me today to discuss their superpowers and how they are changing the community and our neighborhoods through insight policing and effective conflict resolution. So help me bring these ladies to the show, help me welcome them to the show, and let's get started. Well, hello, ladies. Nice to see you.
Hi, hello.
Hi. Welcome. Exciting times, right?
Oh, yes.
And it's the end of the first quarter of the year. It's unbelievable that time has gone by so quickly. What have you been up to this first quarter?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Well, we've been working and training police officers, insight policing. It's also been, I also am a professor. So we've, started the year off with classes. It's been a busy, and, the new administration, everything, it has been quite a tumultuous, busy moment.
Absolutely. And you said new administration. I almost forgot that we are in a new season. It seemed like that time has gone by so quickly. We were all planning and preparing for the change. And here we are. But it doesn't seem like it seems like it's been a while since we've been under the new administration. But yes, absolutely. So why don't you both take a moment to share with everybody who you are and what you do? So I'm going to ask Kim to go first, and then Megan, if you could follow behind her.
Sure. Hello. Thanks for inviting us here. We're excited. My name is Kim Nelson Edwards. I'm actually a retired detective from Montclair, New Jersey. I was with the department for 23 plus years, so a lot of experience there. Wow. But I was assigned almost immediately to community-based policing in my department, which is awesome for me because that's what I wanted to do. If I was going to go into policing, having come from New York City, from the Bronx, where, policing is like, yeah, you know the cops, but nobody wants to be a police officer. So it was pretty good. I said, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. I want to be effective. I don't want to just be there on patrol. I have to be effective. I was assigned immediately after my probation was up. I went to community policing. I was on a motorcycle squad. And then I got the gym. I became a school resource officer, and I did that for 17 years until I retired. And
Wow.
that was a very, very awesome experience. I tell you, if I can still do that, I would do that. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
Only because I saw my work and the things that I did was effective. Effective.
I'm sure it was exciting too,
Yes,
right? Very exciting.
It kept me young, but it also just helped me refresh and have a better outlook towards life, because, as a police officer, you're always responding to negativity. Everybody's woes, they need you. It's an emergency. I'm hurt. I'm sick. There's a conflict. There's a problem. So being in that assignment, I was able to make a difference.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Rewarding as well.
Yes. Very rewarding.
Awesome. How about you, Megan? Share with us who you are and what you do.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Megan Price, and I direct the Center for Applied Insight Conflict Resolution in Washington, D.C. And what we focus most on is insight policing. And so insight policing is a training and a strategic conflict resolution communication framework that we teach to officers to help them recognize conflict in the moment. Kim probably saw that in the schools all the time, but also on the street. Law enforcement is an occupation that sees conflict every single day. So we prepare officers to recognize conflict behavior in the moment, and rather than react to it in a way that might escalate it, use strategic communication and questioning skills to get control over that conflict and lead it towards a safe and effective solution.
Sure. So are you working with police departments or other types of law enforcement? Tell me a little bit about who you actually work with.
Yeah, so we work with police departments, sheriff's offices, individual officers from a variety of units. So it could be detectives or school resource officers or patrol people, leaders, supervisors within agencies. We partner with different departments, and we also offer kind of an open registration course. So any interested officer can come and get the skills.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've been busy, I'm sure, over this course of the last 12 months. It's been an interesting time as it relates to policing across the board. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've been how you've been able to help the community in this manner as it relates to some of the things that have been happening lately in the news.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I was first introduced to insight policing in 2015. So still on the job. And it was just about, I said, oh, wait a minute, this training is doing what I do every day, but I have the privilege to be able to do it as a school resource officer because I have time. I have time to sit and talk and build relationships. And I understand there's a difference in patrol, but when we started doing this training, like I said, in 2015 with my department, I said, this is awesome because now these guys can get it, because it's difficult when you're in a situation that's, it could be a dire need situation. Like, okay, you may not have a minute to really talk to somebody. You have to respond immediately, but there are 10 seconds, 20 seconds to be able to ask the right questions. To be able to get to understand what's really happening here. Because guess what? A lot of times if we have to respond to a house and there's an instant something that's going on that's negative, if you don't get to the core of it, you're coming back to that house. You're going to get another call to come back. So this whole thing about strategic conflict, getting right to, saying the right things, communicating effectively is so important. And I was sold in. I was like, yes, I want to do this. We have to do this. And I think it's important, especially it's trying times now. I'm kind of glad I'm retired, but now I can train from the other side of it. Policing has changed over the years. It changed in 10 years when I was working with the department. So I knew now we have to police different. We can't police the same way as we did before. We have to police differently in this 21st century, or it's going to be a constant battle between the public and the police.
Yeah, absolutely. So Megan, are you seeing that the trainings and conflict resolution and the approach that you're taking, the strategies that you're executing or teaching, is that making a difference? Are you seeing some changes in the community as it relates to, from my standpoint, trust between the community and law enforcement?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to hear more from community members about that. But from what I hear from officers is that they're able to take otherwise stressful, challenging situations where a community member might be stressed, be aggressive, be non-compliant, be having a terrible day, and they're able to resolve it. They're able to find the root of the problem and walk away having solved somebody's problem, right? And that makes the officer feel good. It makes the community member feel like the officer is doing what they would expect an officer to do, help them, rather than, perhaps what happens sometimes, particularly when conflict is going on, bind them up in a whole bunch of legal issues that weren't even part of the problem to begin with.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's changing the way that officers are able to communicate and relate to the community. And that affects the officers positively. And it also does help to build trust in every moment of enforcement. So it's beyond, the really important programming around barbecues and getting to know your cop, coffee with the cop, those kinds of things I think are really key and really important. But on the street or in that tense interaction, you want to be able to build that relationship right there on the job while you're doing that work. And that's what insight policing helps officers do.
Yeah. So how did you get into this? How did you get into insight policing?
Well, my background is in conflict resolution. I have my PhD in that. And back in 2011, colleagues and I responded to a grant that the Department of Justice had put out. And the grant was responding to a challenge that police departments were facing where violent crime across the country was falling. But retaliatory community violence retaliatory community violence, gang violence, situations where, neighbors or friends were hurting one another, that was holding flat. And there was departments felt like they couldn't get ahead of it, to predict it, to prevent it. And so they wanted some resources. And because, retaliation is inherently conflict, the Department of Justice thought, well, maybe conflict scholars have something to say. And so we partnered with Memphis, Tennessee, and Lowell, Massachusetts, and, researched for a good year. We talked to the community, we talked to the to law enforcement. And what we discovered was that already, just by virtue of showing up on a scene, there was conflict, right? Between but not just between the community members, but between law enforcement and the public. And so the public wasn't cooperating. They weren't giving the law enforcement officers the information they needed to solve the crime. So we thought there was this whole sort of dynamic that was being forgotten. So it's not just the community violence, but that lack of trust between police and community right when they show up. So we looked at that as conflict, and that's how we developed insight policing, giving officers those tools to de-link, to disengage, to change the conflict dynamic that spontaneously presented just by showing up. So it was less about retaliatory crime, but about the trust and between the officer and the person they were responding to.
Yeah. Are you finding that? So I'm getting an echo. Okay, good. So are you finding that law enforcement is embracing this, or how are they engaging with the insight policing concepts? I would say I see you smiling, Kim, because I know from frontline processes that you're in danger. You kind of feel it and you kind of react. So how are they engaging with this process to learn, want to learn a little bit more, and start to execute the strategies? Are you finding that they're, fearful of it? Are they excited about it? Is this something new that they are embracing? I'm just curious to know.
Well, when we do the trainings, we can kind of gauge from the officers as it's going along on how they're doing. And for the most part, a lot of them are really excited, like, oh, this could actually work. Then, of course, you have, officers, I have to say, they're a rare breed. They don't like change, not too much. We've been doing it like this we've been doing, so it can be difficult. But one thing I've noticed that through these trainings with the different police departments, that a lot of the officers are excited. They're excited. We have another tool on our belt. We have something else that we can use. So I think we just started doing surveys to kind of see how it's been coming along, how they've been using it, have they been able to use it? So I'm curious to see how that, those responses. But personally, speaking to the officers in my department that took the training, they have changed. We saw a change in one sergeant that was hilarious because he went from this guy was like, I'm not doing none of that, to, you know what, this does work. This does work, so we're hoping that awesome. It catches on because it has to be a change. And I think this is a very small part, but it's a very important part. It's just communicating and trying to resolve the issue, without making it bigger, without escalating it anymore. Meet the person where they are and making sure that they, that you can understand them and that they feel like you're listening or even care.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the type of differences that you're looking to make or create as a result of creating this training, delivering the training, and deepening the relationship that you have with law enforcement.
Wow. Well, I guess on a number of levels that we're trying to make a difference. I mean, one, we do want to help officers reduce the use of force. We know that it's not always it's not always necessary, and we see that over and over again in body cam. We want to be able to be able to help law enforcement build that trust with the community and be the help and the safety and the protection that they want to be. And we know that providing these foundational conflict resolution skills can help them with that. So rebuilding trust, rebuilding legitimacy, and keeping communities safe and keeping officers safe. And I think one thing that we really do see, which builds on what Kim was saying, was that when officers use this in the field, they are so proud of the work that they can do and the problems that they can solve when they can really get to the root of the issue and fix something and not go back to an address or provide the resource, or help to keep a community safe. So we that's another difference that we want to make. We want to help reduce stress for the law enforcement officers.
Absolutely. Right. So I'm going to ask you, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kim.
I was going to say, when you get the buy-in of a chief or the director, the police director, that's going to trickle down and that will change the whole culture of your department. And that's what, we're hoping we're doing by, getting the departments to say, let's send more guys. We like this, this is going to help our community, so we can fill that gap, close that gap rather, so I think it's effective.
Yes. Well, I'm excited about it, honestly. I don't know much about policing. I've never done, well, I know just what my brother has shared with me, being a homicide detective himself or retired one. But I don't know much about it other than, what we hear in the news, what he's shared with us, and then, just personally wanting to partner with law enforcement because we need it. We need it. We can't live without it, right? And so I'm looking forward to all the changes that come. Let me ask you this question, and this is not one that we prepared for, but when you think about more law enforcement organizations engaging and embracing the training, what do you predict our communities will look like 10 years from now?
Well, I remember growing up in the 70s.
Which is very different, right?
Yes, in the 80s, when the officers knew your name, They knew everyone.
Mm.
It was more community based. They can walk up and down the street and say, hey, and you would get that respect. You would stop, and you listen to them. Okay, but I'm gonna tell your mother, it was those types of things. So I'm hoping, because I have grandchildren, that they won't be like, oh, we hate the police. Oh, the police, we don't trust the police, because that's absurd. Like, we need that trust back in policing, where the communities will feel safe and protected. They shouldn't be afraid of us. They should reach out to us. 911 is not just, a number. Like, we're supposed to be able to respond and know that when we come on the scene, we're bringing the police, we're enforcing the law, but we're being fair and, impartial. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this will bring us back to the old days of
the basics,
with the police and the community. We have to get back to that. We have to.
Yeah. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, no, I agree fully with Kim. We want people to not be afraid of the police. We want people to be able to rely on law enforcement for the protection that we all hope for in our communities. And so I really agree that preparing officers with skills beyond, force and beyond, using their authority will help community members feel like they can always and consistently rely on law enforcement to help when they need it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Women's History Month, and we are providing insight and inspiration for other women in business. So I'd love to hear your journey of how you kind of step into this as a woman in business, and how the community has embraced you, the business community, as a woman in almost a male-dominating field, I think.
Oh gosh. So I came into insight policing, as an academic too. So rather than as a businesswoman, and that was an interesting step as well, because we do things completely differently. So it's been challenging for sure. It's been challenging as an outsider, right, to be taken seriously by law enforcement, and definitely as a woman. But if you stand behind your message and you deliver a product that works and is compelling, then you can overcome those barriers.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think I like when I go to the trainings with Megan, because then I become that buffer, and I become that. Wait a minute, I've been in law enforcement. Don't try it. No, I like when I can say no. I've been doing this for a long time. So, and it kind of gives the legitimacy, a lot of it. When you have officers around who's actually done the job, because people, I'm just speaking from an officer point of view. What do they know? They're not in policing. What do they know? That's the first thing we want to say, and it's tough. So Megan has done a great job, and then she surrounded herself with a good team. So it's going to continue to be successful.
Absolutely. So are you primarily, so I think you mentioned Minnesota, right? And I know you're located in the Washington, D.C. area. What other jurisdictions are you looking to do more training with?
Well, we're open nationwide because we offer a virtual training. So anyone can log in, can dial in from anywhere in the country or the world. We work with Canadian departments as well, Maryland, Virginia. We've worked with New Jersey, Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah, all over. And so we're open to working with everyone. And, we do offer in-person trainings as well. And we collaborate with federal grant programs and who can fund insight policing, which is absolutely helpful for agencies who are always strapped.
Absolutely. Well, I love what you guys are doing. Just, getting back to basics, as you mentioned earlier, and the neighborhood, the good old neighborhood concept of policing and the community engaging and partnering with one another. I hadn't thought of it from that standpoint, remembering the 70s, but it was a very different time. You're absolutely right. And just, releasing that intensity and allowing us to live, wonderful lives, safe lives, and continue to build upon that trust my hands are off to you for doing this. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years.
Thank you.
Yes. So before we wrap up, tell us a little bit about some final pieces of advice for other women in business who may be looking to start in an area or a place that may seem to be a little bit difficult. And how can they work with the community to encourage and embrace the process of building?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things is going to be collaboration. You have to have that's key. So once you get a buy-in with, if whatever your community is or whatever, you get that buy-in with someone, then you have to start collaborating with them so they can help you help them, and then you build from there. What do you think, Megan?
I totally agree. I think collaborating, building a team, and also, standing behind your work and knowing that if you've put your heart into it and you believe in it, then other people are going to believe in it as well.
Absolutely. Well, keep getting yourselves out there. Visibility is key. Engagement, you're already doing that. Engaging with the community, engaging with the law enforcement departments. Those are the two secrets to continuing to expand and grow. And I agree with you. Collaboration is key just across the board.
Right.
So I appreciate you both for joining us today. And before we actually wrap up, if you could share with us how others those who are watching can get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about what you do and who you are.
Sure. Yeah, you can always find us on our website, which is insightpolicing.com. We are on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn. I think Kim is as well. But yeah, definitely go to our website, insightpolicing.com, and you can always contact us, find our email address there, our phone number, sign up for classes. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us today. I appreciate the conversation. Keep up the good work. Continue to, change the landscape. Continue to be a game changer in the marketplace because that's what you're doing. And again, I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you all again soon.
Thank you so much for having us on, Lisa.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there we have it. We are living in certainly a different time, a different place and a different time than we were many years ago. But being able to create an environment where we can get back to basics is certainly what the community needs and what we need just across the board. And I am so excited to have had the opportunity to talk to these ladies, and really excited about what the future holds as it relates to conflict resolution, diffusing, sticky situations, and creating that trust in the community between law enforcement and the community itself. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I will be back next week as I kick off our Financial Literacy Month, where I will be talking about tips and strategies on how to help you continue to grow your legacies and provide pathways for investing, solidifying and strengthening your investments to help to continue to build generational wealth. I will be back next Wednesday at 5 p.m. So I hope you will join us here next week. And until then, I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor and Virtual CFO with Anavo Transformation Solutions. And I hope to see you back again next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.